Hi everyone, this is the second part of my posterior thigh lecture. In this section, I will discuss about the muscles of the posterior compartment of the thigh, and also I will talk about the popliteal fossa. The posterior compartment is the smallest compartment of the thigh muscles, and it lies in between the lateral and posterior intermuscular septum on the posterior aspect of the thigh. On the posterior aspect of the thigh, underneath the superficial fascia, or within the superficial fascia, the cutaneous nerves, the posterior thigh skin and superficial fascia is supplied by the branches of the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. Posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, a branch of the sacral plexus. Already I mentioned that it enters into the gluteal region through the greater sciatic foramen inferior to the piriformis muscle, and then it lies deep to the deep fascia. Unlike the other cutaneous nerve, this posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, it lies underneath the deep fascia, but its terminal branches, see, these are the terminal branches, these branches coming out through the deep fascia and supply the skin of the posterior thigh and popliteal fossa. The skin over the popliteal fossa also get cutaneous supply from the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. And on the posterior aspect of the leg, the sural nerve is the cutaneous nerve. The sural nerve, it is formed by the contribution from both the tibial and common fibular division of the sciatic nerve. Sural nerve accompanies with the small saphenous vein on the posterolateral aspect of the leg, and sural nerve supply the skin of the posterolateral aspect of the leg and the lateral aspect of the foot. The posterior compartment of the thigh contains these muscles. These are called hamstring muscles. These are called hamstring muscles because the hams are, for curing or for smoking, the hams are tied up with a hook around the tendons of this muscle. So that's why they are called hamstring muscles. These muscles have some common characteristics. Their proximal attachment is into the ischial tuberosity, and their distal attachment into the proximal part of the tibia. And all these muscles, most of these muscles are supplied by the tibial division of the sciatic nerve, and their function is also the same. These muscles are the flexors of the knee joint, and these are also the extensors of the hip joint. There are mainly three muscles in the posterior compartment of the thigh, from lateral to medial. These are the biceps femoris, then semitendinosus, and then semimembranosus. This is the lateral side. And all these muscles, the proximal part of this muscle is covered by the gluteus maximus muscle. Gluteus maximus muscle also covered the ischial tuberosity, but during sitting position, when we sit on the ischial tuberosity. We don't sit on the gluteus maximus muscle. And ischial tuberosity provides attachment for these muscles. This is under cover of the gluteus maximus muscle. Biceps femoris is a two-headed femoral muscle. It has two different heads, like the biceps brachii muscle. It has a long head and it has a short head. The long head of the biceps femoris muscle, like the other hamstring muscles, it has its proximal attachment into the ischial tuberosity. But the short head of the biceps femoris muscle has its proximal attachment to the linea aspera, lateral lip of the linea aspera, and the lateral supracondylar line. And the long head and short head, both heads join together and form a tendon of the biceps femoris. They form a common tendon of the biceps femoris, and the tendon of the biceps femoris is attached distally into the head of the fibula. See, the head of the fibula receives the distal attachment of the biceps femoris muscle. Then the semitendinosus. Semitendinosus muscle has a long tendon distally. That's why its name is. Almost half of the muscle has a long tendon. Semitendinosus muscle has its distal attachment onto the medial side of the proximal end of the tibia. And then the semimembranosus. Semimembranosus, this muscle has a long aponeurotic membranes. That's why its name is semimembranosus muscle, has its distal attachment onto the medial condyle of the tibia on its posterior aspect. So these are the three muscles on the posterior compartment of the thigh. Except the short head of the biceps femoris, all these muscles get the nerve supply from the tibial division of the sciatic nerve. The short head of the biceps femoris is exceptional. Short head of the biceps femoris is not attached to the ischial tuberosity. It is attached to the lateral supracondylar line, and it is supplied by the common fibular division of the sciatic nerve. The other muscles, the long head of the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, all have their proximal attachment into the ischial tuberosity. And semimembranosus, you can see here, it has a long aponeurosis. It has a broad aponeurosis. Almost half of the muscle has a membrane. That's why its name is semimembranosus. And the semitendinosus, it has long tendon, and the tendon of the semitendinosus is attached to the medial aspect of the proximal end of the tibia with two other muscles. Those two muscles are the sartorius and gracilis. Sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus, these three muscles are attached to the same area on the medial side of the proximal end of the tibia by a common tendon. These three muscle forms three tendons and together attach into the same area on the medial side of the tibia, and this common tendinous attachment of these three muscles is called pes anserinus. Pes anserinus means goose's feet, because these three tendons, like the goose has the three toes in its feet. So pes anserinus is the common tendinous insertion or attachments of the sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus. And this is important that these three muscles are from three different compartments. Sartorius is the muscle of the anterior compartment, supplied by the femoral nerve, and gracilis is the muscle of the medial compartment, supplied by the obturator nerve, and semitendinosus is the muscle of the posterior compartment and supplied by the tibial part of the sciatic nerve. So three muscles form a common tendon, but three muscles belongs to the three different compartments and they have three different nerve supply. Pes anserinus gives stability to the knee joint from its medial side during extension, and from the lateral side the knee joint gets the stability during extension from the iliotibial tract or IT band. So here the long head of the biceps femoris and the semitendinosus cut and reflected, and you can see here is the short head of the biceps femoris. The most deep muscle right here, see, this muscle is the adductor magnus. Adductor magnus, you know that this muscle is one of the muscle of the adductor compartment or the medial compartment of the thigh. Adductor magnus muscle also has two different parts. It has a broad aponeurotic part or adductor part which is attached to the linea aspera, and also this muscle has a tendinous part. See, this is the adductor part of the adductor magnus. The most deep muscle you can see from the posterior side of the thigh. If we reflect the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, the most deep muscle is the adductor part of the adductor magnus, which is attached to the linea aspera, and the tendinous part or the hamstring part of the adductor magnus is attached to the adductor tubercle. The adductor tubercle is a bony prominence above the medial epicondyle of the femur. And you can see this is important that in between the attachments of these two different parts of the adductor magnus, this is the adductor part, this is the hamstring part or tendinous part, in between these two attachments of the adductor magnus, this is the adductor hiatus. adductor hiatus is the opening or aperture through the two different attachments of the adductor magnus through which the femoral artery and femoral vein is passing and entering into the popliteal fossa. And femoral artery and femoral vein, when it enters into the popliteal fossa through the adductor hiatus, they change their name and they become popliteal artery and the popliteal vein. And adductor magnus, also this muscle is pierced or perforated by the perforating branches of the deep femoral artery. See, these are the perforating arteries. They perforate the attachment of the adductor magnus muscle. That's why we call these perforating arteries. And these perforating arteries are the branches arising from the deep femoral artery, and they supply the medial compartment first, and when they enter into the posterior compartment through this muscle, through this adductor magnus muscle, then they supply the posterior compartment muscles. The nerve of the posterior compartment is the sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve is the continuation of the sacral plexus. It enters into the gluteal region first through the greater sciatic foramen inferior to the piriformis muscle. The sciatic nerve is the largest nerve of our body. It is approximately 2 cm wide. The sciatic nerve enters into the posterior compartment of the thigh in between the ischial tuberosity and the greater trochanter of the femur. And it is passing superficial to the deep gluteal muscles. And then the sciatic nerve enters into the thigh under the long head of the biceps femoris muscle. Long head of the biceps femoris muscle crossing over the sciatic nerve obliquely and gives a kind of protection to the sciatic nerve. Then sciatic nerve enters into the posterior compartment of the thigh, lies deep to the long head of the biceps femoris muscle, and at the junction of the middle and the distal third of the posterior thigh, the sciatic nerve normally or usually it divides into two terminal branches. Medially, the tibial nerve, and laterally the common fibular. These are the two terminal branches, and superiorly, actually the tibial and common fibular, these two divisions of the sciatic nerve are joined together and enclosed by the fascial sheath. The tibial nerve, the larger terminal branch of the sciatic nerve, it is passing or coursing through the popliteal fossa, and it is going to enter into the posterior compartment of the leg in between the superficial and deep muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg. Tibial nerve supply the muscles of the posterior compartment of the thigh, the long head of the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and also the hamstring part of the adductor magnus. All these muscles get the nerve supply from the tibial division of the sciatic nerve. And only the short head of the biceps femoris is exception. Short head of the biceps femoris is get the nerve supply from the common fibular division of the sciatic nerve. Excuse me. And common fibular division of the sciatic nerve, you can see it courses along with the tendon of the biceps femoris. The long head and short head of the biceps femoris join together and form a common tendon, which is attached distally to the head of the fibula, and the common fibular division of the sciatic nerve, it courses with the tendon of the biceps femoris, parallel to the tendon of the biceps femoris, then it goes around the neck of the fibula. And common fibular division nerve, it supply in the posterior compartment of the thigh only the short head of the biceps femoris muscle. The posterior compartment of the thigh doesn't have any individual arterial supply. The perforating arteries, I already mentioned that it supplies these perforating arteries supply the posterior compartment of the thigh. The perforating arteries, there are 4 perforating arteries, first, second, third, and fourth. The first, second, third are the branches from the deep femoral artery. The fourth one is the continuation of the deep femoral artery itself. These perforating arteries, they give rise ascending and descending branches. The ascending and descending branches, they anastomosis with each other and form an anastomotic chain on the posterior compartment, and they give the blood supply excuse me, From this anastomotic chain, the posterior compartment muscles get the blood supply. And also, I mentioned that there is a cruciate anastomosis in between the 4 different arteries in the junction of the gluteal region and the posterior compartment of the thigh. That the upper part of the posterior thigh also get the blood supply from this cruciate anastomosis. The popliteal fossa is a diamond-shaped space behind the knee joint. Behind the knee joint, this diamond-shaped space, and it is full of fat, and it is bounded by the muscles. The boundary of the popliteal fossa is formed by the superiorly and laterally by the biceps femoris muscle, and superiorly and medially by the semitendinosus and semimembranosus muscle, semitendinosus and semimembranosus, superior-medially. The inferolateral and inferomedial boundary of the popliteal fossa is formed by the lateral and medial head of the gastrocnemius, which is one of the superficial muscle of the posterior compartment of the leg. This diamond-shaped space behind the knee joint, it's full of fat, and also it contains the tibial division of the sciatic nerve, the popliteal vein, popliteal artery, the terminal part of the small saphenous vein draining into the popliteal vein in the popliteal fossa, and also the branches from the tibial nerve and common fibular nerve and popliteal group of lymph nodes. These are the contents of the popliteal fossa. Among all these contents, the most superficial one is the tibial nerve. The tibial nerve, it lies superficially, but it lies under cover of the superficial and deep fascia. The roof of the popliteal fossa is formed by the skin, superficial fascia, and the deep fascia. The deep fascia of the popliteal fossa is called popliteal fascia, and that forms the superficial fascia. Deep fascia forms the roof of the popliteal fossa. So tibial nerve is the first structure you will see in the popliteal fossa, then the popliteal vein, and the popliteal artery is the deepest structure within the popliteal fossa. And you can see the tibial nerve give rise this medial sural cutaneous nerve, which joins with the contribution from the common fibular nerve, the lateral sural cutaneous nerve, and they both join together and form the sural nerve. And a small saphenous vein terminates into the popliteal vein within the popliteal fossa. The floor of the popliteal fossa. The floor of the popliteal fossa is formed superiorly by the popliteal surface of the femur. See, this is the popliteal surface of the femur in between the lateral and medial supracondylar line. Then the knee joint capsule in the middle part of the floor of the popliteal fossa, and inferiorly the floor of the popliteal fossa is formed by a deep muscle of the posterior compartment of the leg, which is called the popliteus muscle. Popliteus muscle is a small triangular muscle. It arises from the upper part of the posterior aspect of the proximal end of the tibia, and it forms the inferior part of the floor of the popliteal fossa. So the roof of the popliteal fossa is formed by the skin, superficial fascia, and deep fascia, and the floor of the popliteal fossa is formed by the popliteus muscle, knee joint capsule, and the popliteal surface of the femur. And I already mentioned that the popliteal artery is the deepest structure among the contents of the popliteal fossa, and popliteal artery lies over the bone, over the popliteal surface of the femur. So if there is a supracondylar fracture of the femur, occur here, then the popliteal artery will be the first structure to get injured by the supracondylar fracture of the femur. Popliteal artery, you can see it is the continuation of the femoral artery at the adductor hiatus, and popliteal artery is passing over the femur over the popliteal surface of the femur, knee joint capsule, and entering into the posterior compartment of the leg. The popliteal artery has several genicular branches. There are 5 genicular branches arises from the popliteal artery within the popliteal fossa. And these 5 genicular branches are the superior medial genicular arteries, superior lateral genicular artery, laterally, and then inferior lateral genicular artery, inferior medial genicular artery. And also there is another small middle genicular artery which arises from the anterior aspect of the popliteal artery. And so these genicular branches, genu means the knee, genu means the bending or the knee joint. These genicular artery form an arterial anastomosis around the knee joint, and the knee joint gets its blood supply from this genicular anastomosis. Most of the joints, the large joints of our body, has the arterial anastomosis around the joint. So around the knee joint, the genicular arteries, the branches coming from the popliteal artery, they form the anastomosis around the knee joint. And also this genicular anastomosis, it receives the contribution from the descending branch of the lateral circumflex femoral artery. See, this is femoral artery. This is deep femoral artery. From the deep femoral artery, the lateral circumflex and the medial circumflex femoral arteries. Lateral circumflex femoral artery has ascending, transverse, and descending branch. The descending branch of the lateral circumflex femoral artery descends inferiorly and participates in the formation of the genicular anastomosis around the knee joint. Also, there is another descending genicular branch of the femoral artery on the medial side that also participates in this genicular anastomosis, and another branch from the anterior tibial artery, the anterior tibial recurrent artery, that anastomosis that also participates in the formation of the genicular anastomosis. So there are 4 genicular arteries around the knee joint. Actually, there are 5 genicular arteries: the superior lateral genicular artery, superior medial genicular artery. Remember, superior lateral and superior medial genicular arteries are the branches from the popliteal artery. These are over the attachment of the medial and lateral head of the gastrocnemius muscle, and they are passing transversely over the condyles of the femur. The superior lateral genicular artery is larger than the medial genicular artery, and this is the easier one to identify in the lab. And the medial one is a little bit smaller. But remember one thing, these branches, the superior lateral and superior medial, these are over the condyles of the femur. But the inferior lateral and inferior medial genicular arteries, these are the branches of the popliteal artery. They are passing over the condyles of the tibia, and they are passing over the condyles of the tibia deep to the gastrocnemius muscle. They lie deep to the lateral and medial head of the gastrocnemius muscle. And these 4 genicular arteries is easy to identify, but there is another one which arises from the anterior aspect of the approximately middle of the popliteal artery. That's why we cannot show you in this picture, because that arises from the anterior side of the popliteal artery, and that is a very short branch, and that is called middle genicular artery. Middle genicular artery that goes anteriorly, and it pierces the knee joint capsule, and it enters through the joint capsule of the knee joint, and the middle genicular artery supply the intra-articular ligaments of the knee joint, the anterior cruciate ligament, posterior cruciate ligament, and the menisci. Those get the blood supply from the middle genicular artery. Middle genicular artery is very short. The popliteal artery, you can see, popliteal artery, it begins into the adductor hiatus, then it courses over the popliteal surface of the femur, then over the knee joint capsule, then it courses over the popliteus muscle, and at the distal border of the popliteus muscle, see, this is the distal border or the inferior border of the popliteus muscle, the popliteal artery is going to divide into 2 terminal branches. the anterior tibial artery and the posterior tibial artery. The anterior tibial artery is passing through a gap within the interosseous membrane, and then anterior tibial artery is going to enter into the anterior compartment of the leg, and posterior tibial artery entering into the posterior compartment of the leg in between the superficial and deep muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg, and posterior tibial artery supply all the muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg. Popliteal fossa also contains the popliteal group of lymph nodes. Popliteal group of lymph nodes, there is one superficial popliteal lymph nodes which lies within the superficial fascia at the terminal part of the small saphenous vein. Where the small saphenous vein terminates into the popliteal vein, there may be one superficial popliteal lymph nodes, but the other popliteal group of lymph nodes are situated adjacent to the popliteal vein on the which is the deep to the deep fascia, and these popliteal lymph nodes receives the lymphatic vessels which accompanying with the tributaries of the small saphenous vein, and these popliteal lymph nodes are draining ultimately into the inguinal group of lymph nodes, and ultimately they are draining into the deep inguinal lymph nodes. So that's all for my second section of the posterior thigh lecture. Thank you for your attention.